Our journey continues with the basics of gelled photography by using dodging and burning to enhance the three-dimensionality of this straight out of camera image to transform it into a final piece of artwork using Photoshop. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. In the previous video, we went through frequency separation to retouch our gelled photography image, and now we're going to work with dodging and burning to not only give the image a sense of three-dimensionality, but to give it a stylized look that is unique to gelled photography. But before we dive into the Photoshops, I want to take a brief minute to mention a business that I've partnered with, which is Intuition Backgrounds. They have a beautiful array of backgrounds for photography. Some of them have been designed by some of the most prominent photographers in our industry. They've given me the opportunity to design a line for them, and I'm incredibly excited to get started on that. They are having a garage sale right now. It goes through to March 31st, 2020, where they have various items on sale. So you can find out more about that sale by going to their website at intuitionbackgrounds.com or go to their Facebook page and find out more. Now, if you're finding this video after the sale has ended, still go to their website because you can sign up to receive information about future promotions that they have or new backdrops that come to the line. So please visit intuitionbackgrounds.com. They're a great group of people, a wonderful company. You will not be disappointed. Now let's dive into the Photoshops and talk about dodging and burning. So in the previous video, again, we had done the frequency separation where we had painted on this layer to build up a base of color. We'd also had a blank layer called highlights where we painted in some white to try to create those specular highlights. The specular highlights start playing into the stylized look that I talked about in the first video with Adobe Camera Raw and enhancing the white point in the image to get that metallic, beautiful chrome, colorful feeling. So I want to do that with dodging and burning itself. So I'm going to go to the dodge and burn layers and turn those on. Now, if you don't know what dodging and burning is, that's totally fine. There happen to be some videos on this channel that explain the process of dodging and burning and how to make the action to create the different curves adjustment layers. So give this video a pause, go check out those videos on my channel, and then come back and watch this and you'll be able to dive into dodging and burning with us. Now, the dodge and burn layers, of course, we have the black and white adjustment layer that's turned on right now. That's the helper to force us to see white, black, and gray. That is useful when you're doing dodging and burning for a non-gelled image, but when you have the gels, it does not really help you because you need to be able to see the different tones that you're trying to augment and paint into the scene itself. When I do dodging and burning, I like to start with the burn and just add those shadows, and then I'll add the corresponding highlights wherever it's applicable. Since I don't have the black and white adjustment layer, how can I know where to put the shadows? Well, we're creating a sense of three-dimensionality. So I think about elements of her face, like her nose sticks out further than her mouth. The bottom lip here, the skin right beneath it, has a natural shadow there because it's a little bit lower, and then her chin sticks out further, so it has that highlight. So we can augment those with shadows and highlights using a dodging and burning. So I'm going to hit B for brush, and I'm going to paint with white onto the layer mask. My flow is set to 1%, so let's change that to like 5% and start building it up because, again, subtlety is key inside of Photoshop. And just a little touch of that is good. I'm going to come to this area right through here next to her, the top of her mouth. I don't know what this is called. I keep forgetting what this little section of your mouth right here, the center below your nose. Somebody told me at the last conference I taught at, and I cannot for the life of me remember. So if you know what that little section is where her piercing is at, put it in the comments, and I promise I'll forget by the time I record another video. So I'm going to add some more shadow right at the base of her nostrils. Again, just trying to create a little bit of a sense of three-dimensionality. Another great place to do that is along the jawline and where her hair meets her face. There's some natural shadows in there that we can augment, and it will give the illusion that her face is coming out from her hair and, you know, accentuate the three-dimensionality of her face. Do it down her neckline. You can come into the hair and do the same thing. In the hair and parts of the clothing, I will take the brush up a little bit more in flow, potentially, just to put down a little bit more. I try to be a little more careful on the face itself. And again, I do this in the hair, but I will do this in other elements of the body as well. And I do want to demonstrate those here instead of just ignoring it for this video. So like at the base of her arm here, I'll add some more shadow right there at her elbow and then along through here. Now we have a highlight through here because the strip box that's on this side is illuminating the base of it. So I don't want to paint it in at the base, but right through here, I can augment the transition between the two different highlights so that we can see that. Now, her clothing, the dress that she's wearing, there's a lot of great highlights so we can play with this. There's not a lot of, shadows that we really need to augment, but we can hit some of these areas that we see that are just a little bit of a deeper, darker tone, and that's fine. So right here on her chest, we can augment that just a little bit. Again, adding those shadows into the scene to give three-dimensionality. Now, when I do dodging and burning, I would do the burn, and then I would do the corresponding dodge. When I do gel photography, I do the dodge last. What I do is use next in the step, in the process, is this color highlights curves adjustment layer. It's simply a curves adjustment layer with the points brought up, but the blending mode has been changed from luminosity, which is what these are on, luminosity. So it's letting Photoshop only deal with the light value and it's ignoring the color value. It's been switched from luminosity to hard light. By its namesake, it's going to make the light in the scene harder and also the color that's there. So those specular highlights, that metallic chrome feeling, with this one curves adjustment layer, we're not only going to bring out those specular highlights, but we're going to enhance the color to really give it that metallic punch that I love in gel photography. So I'm gonna hit Z to zoom in just a little bit and let's demonstrate. So we're on the layer mask, we're gonna be painting white onto it. Our flow is at 5% and that's just fine. And I'm gonna start right at the base of her eye and just start putting down just a little bit. And those little touches will give us that chrome feeling immediately. Down here at the base of her chin, we get that pop of light, and it's going to help drive focus. These areas around her nostril where we've got some really good strong color, that will jump out. Same thing like right through here, we're going to hit just, not right there because I do want to sculpt that a little bit more with some burn. So up top, right through there, we'll just give it a gentle little bit of a touch. Down here where we can see some lighter color, we give it a little bit more of a touch. These give those specular pops. Again, she's wearing oil on her skin, so it's helping to have those jump out a little bit more. I'm seeing some areas up here where there's already some natural specular highlights that we can paint in. And this is what I was talking about in the previous video with frequency separation, where you can paint in some color to build a foundation for the dodging and burning to play off of. Here we see a nice specular highlight that already exists. It wasn't as strong here, and this is where we could potentially go back to frequency separation and start introducing some other colors so that this color highlights curve can bounce off of that, if that makes sense. When I do this part of retouching for gel photography, I have an action that simply populates all the layers for frequency separation and for the dodging and burning, so that I bounce back and forth between those two groups as I retouch and work. The goal is to build three-dimensionality, to retouch skin, to create the stylized look. This curves adjustment layer set on hard light really comes to play and really shines when we get into other areas where we're not dealing so much with skin. And this is again where that stylized look can jump out. So this area at the top of her hair, usually things that have darker tones in them, like if they're wearing clothes that are made of a black material. If the material is like denim or some kind of like very non-luminescent material, the lights aren't going to bounce off of it very much, and you aren't going to see the color from the gels in it as much. If her dress, I think, is like, fake leather, pleather, faux leather, whatever, it will bounce the light off of it a little bit more, so we'll see some more of that color. Her hair obviously has some shine to it, so we're able to see some of those colors playing into it. So I'm going to start painting white. I'm going to take my flow to 10% just for the video so you can see this transition. As I paint white, see how much of the white light that's coming in, but how the colors are really popping out. If I make my brush a little bit smaller and just paint in some strands of this now, I can mimic some of the actual flow of her hair. Like right through here, we can hit some of that hotter purple, magenta. Over here, same thing, and start giving some of that life, both in the overall luminosity and the color, and that richness that gives us a sense of stylization, of that metallic, beautiful color. And of course, because it's adding some light to it, against the existing shadows that are already there, we're giving a sense of three-dimensionality to the photo and letting some of that pop out, which looks really cool. Now I'm going to go down to her clothing to talk about that. Again, as I was saying, this fake leather material, this area through here, that comes down. We can see the purple gel, the magenta gel that's hitting that. We can augment it with one nice good brush stroke through there because of that curves adjustment layer that's been set to hard light. So the colors are coming through, the light's coming through, and it's, you know, hard. I'm going to change my flow from 10% to 5% because I'm going to actually go on her skin now. This little area here, we've got a good highlight there. We can hit her elbow over here, her hands. We can make the brush a little bit smaller so we can just kind of follow the natural flow of color on her hands and let those come out and come into play. Hitting some richness down through there. And again, her hair, and you know, on her face up by her eyes, it might be a little too much, and that's fine. We can simply just start painting some black at a low flow, like 1%, and start just taking it away very gently and smoothing it out just a little bit. The key to remember is that this curves adjustment layer set to hard light is meant to create a stylization, a stylized look to this whole process, so that when we hit Control and 0 to come all the way back out and we look at this, let's look at the before and after of what we have done with dodging and burning. And again, think about it from sculpting, but also from stylization. Before and after. After. Let's zoom in back to her face just a little bit. Her face and her hair. Look at how stylized it is now compared to without the dodging and burning. Now, this is the style that I like and I prefer. If you don't like that hyperchrome metallic stylized nature, well then screw, no, that's fine. Then go ahead and do what you prefer. Do a minimal dodge and burn, but definitely do dodging and burning because you can sculpt and pull out more of that 3 dimension to the image, which certainly helps. But I love this chrome metallic feeling. I love that colorful nature to it. All the prints that I have both in my office and what we give to our clients is either on metallic paper or on actual aluminum metal, because I love the way the color plays into those prints and into that medium. So that one curves adjustment layer really does most of the work and the heavy lifting here for the dodging and burning itself. And this is again the process that I would go through for the entire image, giving the burn and then the color highlights. We can go in and do some dodging as well. And again, this is one I do last because I try to do it very minimally. So I'm changing my flow to 3% because I don't want to build up too much where we already had those strong specular highlights from that hard light curves adjustment layer. But this is where I can fill in some existing light through here, like at the base of her mouth. I can increase the flow just a little bit more to put down some more, again, for the purpose of the video, trying to get us a little bit stronger in there. You know, going back to the curve for the color highlights, that's set to the hard light. In here on her lips, we can really let some of this augment and show up right through there. And these little areas that we can really pull some nice focus to, and make some minimal little lines that when we zoom back out, just give more shape and dimension. So the pushing of her lips that she's doing in this pose, we're augmenting that 3-dimensional nature using color and of course light and shadow. So doing some further dodging through the areas that are dark, I would do it here in the hair to help that pop out, and then just let it stand a little bit more and be visible, maybe down here on her neck and so forth. And this is more in the realm of what typical dodging and burning would be. So Control or Command 0 to zoom all the way back out. I love this look. I love that sense of it's just that beautiful flow of color. It reminds me of, like, if you've ever seen like liquid mercury and the way that it moves, it's just in the way that the light plays off of it, it's mesmerizing to me. So anyway, that covers the content of this part of this basic look at gelled photography, where we're essentially dealing with the dodging and burning. In the final video, we're going to go through some artistic enhancement to simply make this a final artistic piece. We'll show you how to save it, change the color space, change the bit mode, all that good stuff, and finish up this artwork and this look at basic look at gelled photography. If you like the content that's here, please give this video a like, because that is just the game that we have to play with YouTube to tell the algorithm that this channel has information that other people might be able to value and use. This is my forward journey in education as far as online education is concerned. I've been working with Patreon for the past few months. I have a wonderful crew on Patreon that I absolutely adore, but I'm moving now back to YouTube simply because the audience is a wider reach and the metrics are something that I can show businesses as I partner with them. So help me grow this channel by giving the video a like and then subscribe to the channel if you want to see all the content that's coming. Tutorials in Photoshop work and photography work, and essentially my world as a photographer. I'm bringing you along on that journey, and I'm very excited to go through it. So thanks for watching the video today, and until next time, I will see you out there in the world of Photoshop.